That was true. I'm just excited to talk about America's Olympic wrestling success. I think it was a very great Olympics as far as wrestling is concerned. I didn't watch anything else but wrestling, so let's go. Really? No synchronized swimming? Mm.
We all know what was going on in '84. It was the boycott year. We won 9 of 10 in men's
But
freestyle.
so you're talking it's the most medals, all just total medals, men's, women's, Greco.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
So
okay.
when you consider, one, there was 10 weights then, and two, the boycott. I mean, it's unquestionably our best showing to go 5 for 5 on the men's freestyle side, to have 4 total medals on the women's side when 2 was the most Olympic medals we ever had in one, to have our second Olympic champion, to have our first 2-time Olympic medalist, Helen. It was unquestionably the best, and I think other things you consider is the world's never been better. It's never been more competitive, and that'll be true. That'll be more true in 3 years from now, and then 4 years after that. But for right now, the world is really, really good.
I agree with you, Christian. But when you're saying like it's going to continue to get better, how are you quantifying that? Is it just? I mean, obvious is people can wrestle for other countries. First, it was kind of like unofficially done as the USSR broke up into many countries. Now there's Russians wrestling everywhere. There's Cubans wrestling everywhere. There's Americans wrestling everywhere. If Miles Amin got a medal for San Marino. If you can somehow qualify under UWW criteria, you can go wrestle for whatever country you want. Are those the reasons, or is there another reason you're saying better than ever?
Well, that's a huge part of it, but I just think the evolution of the sport, and the sport is,
Okay.
I think it's growing. I think it's growing in visibility. I think America has a big part with that, and that we're not just along for the ride, but we're a legit superpower is gonna help accentuate that for the United States.
If you were looking for an argument for an earlier, say, 92 or 72, maybe not 72, because there was only one Soviet. You didn't have to go through a bunch of Soviets, so that's a hard argument. Even in 92, it wasn't like it is now. That was still kind of in the Russia and Soviet build back up period after the Soviet Union broke up. But they did 1 bronze and full wrestlebacks and pool play. So you have 1 less medal.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's huge for your bronze medalist, because think if like Thomas Gilman and Cal Dake had to wrestle 1 more match against the other bronze medalist, it's kind of something similar to that. And you had to win several more matches to win gold as well. Granted, some of those were against easier opponents because it was pool play, but still, however many more matches at the Olympics increases your chance of losing.
Yeah, the pool play system they had in 96 it was 2000. I don't know. It might have been 96. It might have been 2004 also. I'm blanking on when they changed the bracketing. It was really terrible. You remember there's the famous Slay and Satiev, right? And Satiev just got knocked out because he lost a Slay. So you've got these randomly drawn pools, and you essentially had to win to advance. So that was definitely not ideal. I just glanced back in the 92 Olympics. So you had North Korea win the first 2 weight classes, which is pretty insane because do they even field a team anymore? But then
no, they have women. They didn't send any to this Olympics because they're doing North Korea stuff. But they did have a world champion in 2019.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's United States, the unified team, which is the USSR, Turkey, Iran, Cuba, and there's barely any other medals besides that. So it definitely was very centralized between countries. And now with, like you said, all the Soviet republics, you're getting a lot more countries getting medals, and you're having a lot more tough wrestlers. And then obviously with the ability of Russians to transfer other places, and now Americans to transfer other places, Christian. Field's
Yeah.
getting so much deeper.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we're going to see more of it from
Yes.
Americans, right? It's going to get harder to make our team. I think the process to wrestle for other countries has never been easier. And, I think we're going to see it more because it's going to be harder to make our team. And people are going to see, okay, this Miles Amin's an Olympic medalist. He would not be an Olympic medalist if he tried to wrestle for America, right? So I think it's huge for the competitive landscape of wrestling. It's going to be these Olympic brackets are going to be tougher and tougher. And man, if you could find an Africa Oceania hustle on the men's freestyle side,
that's what I'm saying.
Yo.
I already got my hustle plan, but it's like 7 years out.
Oh, okay. What, the comeback? What do you mean? What's your hustle?
I'm gonna start a series of AWAs in Southeast Asia.
Okay,
Singapore.
Boom! 2 Olympic qualifiers every time.
Yeah. Go to New Zealand. Can you imagine?
Well, no, that's Southeast Asia is included in that qualifier there. So I just set up AWAs in Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, all of them. Some of my college guys. Boom, 2 Olympic qualifiers every single time.
Yeah, because if you're like for Miles or Stevan, man, if you have to qualify out of Europe, it's a lot tougher. You get that Oceania, the Africa hookup, boy, it's a lot easier. It's tougher. It would be tougher on the women's side, and even Greco, because they have Egypt.
Yeah,
Nigeria is kind of a power for on the women's side.
Sure.
I don't know if it necessarily be tougher than Europe, but it'd be tougher than the men's side for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And then once you're qualified in some of those easier countries, then you really just get to focus on wrestling the world. Whereas like Stevan Micic, for example, he's not really worried about winning his country's spot. He's just worried about competing with the best guys in the world. And there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, I know when I was trying to make the team, there's so much of like, oh, I have to beat this guy's really good and this guy's really good, and I'm thinking like how to tailor my style to beat the guys I have to beat to make the United States team. And then the guys in the world almost take like a back seat to them.
Yeah,
because can't win a medal unless you make the team.
So, man, there's a lot of places we can go.
Well, how about Gable? I'm obviously I've been talking a lot about the Gable thing. Where does he go after this? I don't believe nothing I saw, he gave a definitive answer on what he was going to do. I think it's fascinating. I think the young man's got the world by the balls at this point. He could really go and do.
He flirted with everybody on Twitter.
Yeah,
which is smart, and he should be.
Dana White, the Vikings. Yeah, their website's releasing odds.
Oh my gosh! So
what will Gable do next?
Yeah, it says if you're listening, it says wrestle for Minnesota -150, wrestle in an official WWE match +100, fight in an MMA fight +800, sign with an NFL team +2500.
I have no idea about the NFL team because I don't know if he's good enough to do that because I don't know anything about football.
Gable quote tweeted and said, "If I was you, I would bet on the NFL."
He's just messing with everyone.
I know, but it's funny.
Great, outstanding.
I saw Big Cat. Barstool Big Cat tweeted something like, "Can he play O-line for the Bears?" I want to get something straight. Gable, very athletic, maybe could eventually one day, but right now he is way too small to start on an offensive line in the NFL.
No, he's short. I mean, you saw it. It was one of the. I knew he's not the biggest heavyweight, but he looked significantly smaller than all his opponents.
He probably weighs like what, 240?
So he normally tips in like
Rock Christian. They just posted that today.
So he normally tips in at like 250 or so, and apparently he wasn't able to, the last couple weeks of camp wasn't able to keep his lifting up, so he was under 250 for this portion. But yeah, he is significantly smaller. He's like a linebacker size. He's not gonna play football, obviously. He didn't play in high school, to my knowledge. He's just a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everyone was trying to get it out of him. He's not giving it up. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just like,
just opened up that many more possibilities to where he can negotiate new money deals now, or see who else wants him.
What's the timeline looking like for him? Like, did he say I'm going to do it decide in a month? Because obviously with University of Minnesota, those classes start in like probably 2 to 3 weeks. So if he's going to attend school, that decision has to be made relatively quickly. I would assume that Minnesota's starting their fall training right after that. So there's that. And then also, if he's going to continue to wrestle, he's likely we want him on the 2021 team. So that also has to be decided relatively quickly. The MMA and the WWE, like, they can wait, right? He wouldn't have to make that decision for 3 to 6 months. But the other things have to happen kind of quick.
Yeah, but he also kind of gets a pass. I think if he was like, hey, Coach Eggum, let me fly around this first semester and come in second semester, who's saying no?
What about the Worlds?
Oh, yeah. Well, Worlds, he has to make a decision.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's
and classes. He has to do those.
Yeah, sort of. He only really has to do classes second semester.
So I don't think, yeah, a lot of people seem to think he's done. He said something about in the mix zone after he won that, like, he's like, I have my family in Minnesota and, the Gophers, and I'd be a fool not to pass that up, but I don't know or to pass that up, right? To forego his collegiate season. So I think it's more likely he wrestles for NCAAs than Worlds again, personally. But maybe he'll do both.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like you're on the mountaintop now for international. You're not going to lose in NCAA season. Just like keep your pristine. You're going to wrestle in NCAA finals again. You'll get to do a backflip. Your brand will get to grow that much more. Wrestle on primetime ESPN, and then go off and do the next thing.
I think this goes to what he wants to do, Christian. If he wants to go to WWE or MMA, then he probably shouldn't wrestle in the Worlds because, like you're saying, there is a chance he loses. I don't think he would, but there's a chance. And if he were to lose, that would definitely take some marketability off him. Not a huge amount because most normal people aren't going to pay attention to the 2021 Worlds. Wrestling people will, but other people won't. And the other thing I think about is, with this NLI, I think he could probably make comfortable money if he were to go to attend Minnesota for the 21-22 season. I think he could make some decent money. So I'm still going to go. He's going to go to WWE. That is still where my money is. But I think he's got a lot of options.
Yeah. Very obviously. Now,
gun to your head. Where's he going, Christian? Gun to your head.
I think he wrestles for Minnesota next year.
I do too.
For sure.
Wow.
I feel.
Okay.
I see. I think
because of NI.
Because
NIL,
no, because that's what get your degree, finish school. You're gonna have your whole life ahead of you. Get your degree.
So if
I think maybe that's what people are telling him.
Well, he's
but
at the Performance Lab in Orlando. He could do his online degree, obviously.
You're saying he's going back to get his degree not because he can make money.
Yes,
now.
because I was told.
Let me ask you this: if he sends a WWE contract, would that fall under NLI guidelines, or would that make him ineligible to compete? Because it would be like signing with a professional team, essentially.
I don't know what that would fall.
Enough. Yeah.
So I was just told, but well before NIL was enacted, this was kind of ahead of schedule from when people thought it was going to come out. They said no. I was told he could come back and finish his degree. That's what he should do. So that's why I think that.
Maybe what he should do, but what will if he couldn't?
That's what I think he will do. That's what.
Okay,
I think
but
he will
do you think he would come back if the name, image, likeness thing hadn't been enacted?
I don't know. Yes, I thought he was coming back to Minnesota all along. As of the Olympic trials, I thought he was coming back.
So when's he gonna make his announcement, or at least give us a timeline?
I don't know.
I can fly up to Minnesota and hunt him down.
He ain't gonna tell you nothing. Not anytime soon.
What if we kidnap him?
Yeah,
he's easy to kidnap?
He'd be very kidnappable. That's one thing about Gable. Super kidnappable. Oh my gosh. How many times have you guys watched that final sequence?
A lot.
Like 3, only 3 probably.
Only 3. I know I've watched it 20 times.
We have to say though,
really,
it should not have happened.
Yes, because it should have been a tech in the first period.
Because he should have been up by 8. Not a tech.
So they
Gable got screwed twice. I want to preface this by saying Gable got screwed twice prior to this in the match by the officiating. He should have had the 4, and I don't think they should have stopped it when Geno was on the legs and locked, and Gable was starting to come behind. But we have the official rule book right here.
Rules guy JD.
Yeah, the UWW rule book, and it says the wrestler on top has no right to interrupt the bout nor to request that wrestling resume in a standing position, which you could say Gable didn't request it, but they also say, let me find the exact wording right here. The referee stops the bout after a reasonable period of time and has the wrestlers resume the bout in the standing position. 1 second is not a reasonable amount of time, and I have never seen it stop like that in an international match. In fact, when wrestlers try and just get up and stand, I've seen them finger wag and put them back down on Parterre, and I've even seen them caution and wand for doing it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ref just freaked out, and I know that the official afterwards admitted that he messed up the 4 on the edge. He said, "I blew my whistle too early."
Well, so. When we first watched that, it was watch party and we didn't have sound, and I assumed that he had blown the whistle before Gable started that sequence or whatever. But I went back and rewatched it, and not only was the transition more seamless than I thought, with literally no pause in between Gable coming behind and picking Geno up and put him down, but I listened to it with audio, and he doesn't blow the whistle until Geno is up in the air and going to his back. That definitely should have been 4 for Gable, because at the time I was like, oh, he probably blew the whistle right away, and then Geno kind of let up and then gave up the 4. It was not like that.
In basically all sports, it's better to blow the whistle later than earlier.
Yes.
And very true in this sequence with
so
Gable.
Yes, the whistle was blown before Geno hit the mat, but it was blown after he was already up in the air and getting thrown to his back.
So it's funny because that sequence was like not discussed hardly at all, because it's all about the last 13 seconds. But I want to talk about the freestyle cut that Gable did, because I think it absolutely should be an option for wrestlers.
I think it should be an option, but it's not. It's not at this point.
I know. I want to talk about that, why I think it should be a thing, because I don't think you should be compelled to try to score from a position. I don't think you should have to make an attempt at anything, right? I don't think you should. He should try a gut? So
how often do we see the guy just lay on top for 7 seconds?
So
and
why do we have to have a charade?
7 seconds.
Why do we have to have a charade of top wrestling when he doesn't want to turn? So basically you're just saying, because the bottom guy's not really supposed to like work to get up, right? So now you're just making people watch people lay on each other. Like it's pointless. Yeah. So just let them up. It's going to create more action. You can have that sequence. That can be a reality in wrestling. Whereas what I think Geno was actually doing on the 13-second restart, I mean, he airmails. Now he was braking for sure, and he was really fatigued. But he airmailed a shot, I think, with that in mind. Like, all right, maybe I'll get a leg, but if I don't, I'm going to eat up 6-7 seconds here, and then the match is over. And I think it showed why that rule is maybe should be modified. And, the guys that want to work on top can work on top, but you shouldn't be forced to.
Well, so, I mean, I think you guys are nailing it here. And it's funny, I don't think this was ever debated before this sequence. I mean, I don't think we ever talked about this thing, but it is a charade because you are kind of forced to work on top. I know I've had several athletes that I'm coaching be penalized for, they let them up essentially, and they're like, no, you can't do that, get back on top. But there's no advantage to the bottom person for the top guy just laying on there acting like a charade. It's just essentially a waste of time for both guys. So to give the top person the option of letting them up and wrestling, the top guy is essentially giving away his advantage, right? The advantage of being on top. So I think they should be able to, but to you guys' point, it's in the rule book. You can't do that right now. So I don't know why the ref let him do it, but it made for a tremendous finish.
If I was Petriashvili's coach, I would have gone full Mongolian and protest.
Yeah.
Think if the roles were reversed.
Oh, yeah.
How angry we would be. Now, obviously, I'm very happy that it happened this way. And like you said, it probably should happen this way, but that's bad.
To be fair, more time ran off than you realize, because while he
What do
was
you mean
only
more
on top
time?
for no time, like 3.5, 4 seconds ticked off because he got the takedown in like the clock started at 13.
Yes.
He had the takedown at 10, and then it ran down to like 6.5. So it's like 3.5, 4 seconds of parterre, if you want to call it that. So it's not like I don't know. It wasn't 1 second. Now he didn't try. They blew it immediately, but that much time ran off. So that's a little. I don't know. That's something, right? That's notable. And I hope it. I hope they look into that rule, and I hope they consider changing it, because, listen, top wrestling's exciting when guys are trying to turn, but
Or they do turn.
they do turn, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to try to do that, and I think it's worth modifying. I mean, how about the just the ebbs and flows of that match, right? Like, it looked like he was gonna tech him, and then Gable could not get off. Had a hard time defending those guts.
I think Gable maybe got a little too confident and started to feel himself maybe a little bit too much. And if he wants to stay in wrestling and dominate his way through another cycle, the dude needs to learn at least parterre defense. He shows he doesn't need to learn parterre offense, but he's got to learn parterre defense.
Well,
Because he almost lost that match. A large part due to his lack of parterre defense.
The whole thing was parterre, lack of parterre defense. I mean, if he doesn't get turned, there's no way Gino's taking him down 2 more times or another time. I mean, it's not that close if that doesn't happen.
I think here's what I think happened. So he's up 5-0. He's like, okay, I'm teching this dude. He takes and Coach Eggum even said this to me. He's like, he took that high crotch. That was not part of the plan. Like, he was not supposed to take that attack against him. And he's like, but, he's a champion. He felt it, so he went. And so then once he got that 2 and the ball kind of got rolling a little bit in Geno's way, I think that really shifted things. But,
Yeah.
to be fair to Gable, I think in general his parterre defense is satisfactory.
Wait, when's he been on bottom, Christian? How many times?
That's a good point.
And then when he did get on bottom, he got turned.
He hasn't been on bottom. He didn't get taken down the rest of the Olympics?
Yeah, all right, good point.
Yeah, so his parterre defense is not good. He only ends up.
It's been
on
satisfactory
bottom.
because he hasn't had to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, yeah.
That's the ultimate, the best defense is a good offense example.
On bottom.
Yeah, I was going to say, I felt like there have been other examples, but then I guess not really.
I don't know, the Gwiz took him down.
Was it all ones with Gwiz, like shot clocks
was.
and step outs?
I have to go back and watch. I don't feel like Gwiz was on top at all, though.
And Gwiz is he's solid on top, but he's not like Geno level top wrestler.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's obviously an area of improvement for him. But I think if they wrestle that again, I don't think. Man, I'll tell you what. I don't know if you guys could see it or whatever, but the devastation of Geno was like almost to the point where like I'm almost sad that this happened to this guy. Like, he was so he wasn't like Yazdani throwing a temper tantrum, kicking chairs. He was just like this, just a sad bear of a person, just with his head down. He was wiping his tears with his freaking mask. It was brutal. But he shook everyone's hands. He hugged everyone after the match. It was after the podium. But man, that dude was absolutely tore up. Like it's like someone hugged this man. He is in a really bad place, and I can't imagine how he feels losing a match in that way. Because 3 years from now, is he still going to have an opportunity to do this? I don't know.
Yeah,
he's no spring chicken. Although he's not old, and a heavyweight can go a little bit longer. How old is Geno? I'm trying to look it up right now.
Yeah, he's pretty old. So we don't know that Gable is going to compete in was it October, which is not all that far away.
It's 27.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, see, he'll be wrestling in. So I'm sure Gena and Taha are going to be wrestling in October, correct? I mean, most of these other countries, that's what they kind of do for their full-time living is wrestle. So they'll be in.
I would assume so. I don't know.
I think they will. I wonder how much.
Taha might retire.
Yeah.
After Gable 8-0s him.
Well, if Gable's not back,
True.
it's like, all right, it's basically a coin flip match with every single time. So why not?
Absolutely.
I think Zare is still a scary customer. I mean, we haven't talked about his match with Geno.
Yeah.
But it looked like he had it, like he was going to win. And Geno just got real tough and figured it out late. And horse stints and finishes.
I've never seen like a heavyweight get completely flattened out on a leg and somehow be able to pull himself back up. He was like bellied out.
Belly, not just like, oh, I'm extended. He was like laying like flat out, completely flat, and figured out a way to finish it. It was like, I mean, Geno really showed his mettle in both those matches, like how tough he was, what resolve he had, but
going
he didn't have it
into
at the end.
Prior to that match, it was actually Zare that scared me more for Gable. And it was Geno. You know, I just feel like that style, the Iranian style of underhook, in, not going to shoot a hole up, but I'm going to pressure you the whole time. He's got good parterre, gas tank. That's what scared me more than Geno. And then Geno kind of won it out. I was like, oh, maybe not quite yet. And Geno's kind of it factor, his winning instinct, that sort of switch made me a little nervous, or maybe more so than Zare's tactics.
Well, I felt the same way, and asking around. One of the cool parts about being there was like, talking to coaches and talking to people who've been around camp and just hearing what they're thinking. And they thought Zare was the scariest matchup for Gable, the one they were most worried about. They thought Geno was a great matchup. Not that they knew it was going to be a really hard match, but you got a guy that shoots a lot against the best re-attacker in the world. That you get excited about that. But man, after watching it, I'm like, Geno. But then again, he was up 5-0. I think if he doesn't shoot at the end, does he get that opportunity? Does the ball get rolling the other way? I don't know. But either way,
way less likely, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So incredible match, greatest match ever. No doubt about it.
Greatest match ever. So it's funny because I think that. Well, I'm not even just going to debate that. It was a great match. We could just, if he wants to call it greatest ever, I'm great with that. But what's funny is we had another buzzer beater in David Taylor versus Yazdani. I mean, that was maybe more than 1 second left, but it wasn't a lot.
It's just kind of getting forgot about now.
Not. I don't think so. I mean.
It is for sure is Christian. People are not talking about it nearly as much because the Gable thing came afterwards,
and because Gable's,
super
going to be a superstar, so popular, larger than wrestling now.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that it illustrates the Iranian style of no offense and just hand fighting. The world's they're gonna have to start evolving. They're
Iran is.
Yeah, you can't. You're gonna get medals. You can medal.
Well, for the record, they don't always that's not always Yazdani's style. He definitely shut it down against David.
In general, he's at his best when he's hand fighting and not.
Sadulaev shut it down and he won.
He did shut it down. Sadulaev's a different beast altogether. Yes. And he was also. He didn't have to. Yeah, I think a different deal with Sadulaev, and that's not normally how Sadulaev wrestles. This is how Iranians wrestle. They want to hand fight you, chew you up. And it worked. Like this guy, he medaled. He almost beat Geno. And with Yazdani, he's in the finals again. The accolades are there. But I think they have to progress. You can't just say our thing is hand fighting and not shooting and we're going to, that's it, right? I don't think that's tenable if you want to win Olympic titles.
Well, I mean, people have had a lot of success with that philosophy. So I don't know. I would have to kind of go back and look at each individual person on a case by case basis. But there are a lot of people who've won with that style, Christian. I think it would be hard to argue that. I mean, Yazdani did win an Olympic title in 2016.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, go back 1. Look at his side. 2, look at what happened to Godoyev in that match. I mean, he basically bled out. He was destroying him, and then.
Liz, don't make excuses to what happened in the match.
I'm telling you, that's what happened. That's what happened.
He's an Olympic champ. I mean,
but
he did win with that style, and there's been other people who win with the style. I mean, obviously, I would, if I'm trying to coach wrestle from the ground up, I think yes, you have to have offense, and And Yugaev is a guy, for example, who does a lot of standing hand fighting, but then he also has the ability to go score when he needs to, and that won him a couple really big matches. The ability to go get the attack. So I think it's obviously better to have attacks, but there are people who win with not much. I mean, all of Sadulaev's points were defensive against Snyder, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Also,
he had a step out.
I want to emphasize it again, but Yazdani does shoot. His game plan coming in against David Taylor was not to shoot because I think because he's gassed out in the first 2 matches, so he's trying to conserve energy.
Yazdani doesn't shoot a lot. I mean, he shoots less than majority of people that wrestle at that level.
If he's on a leg, it's normally snap,
like throw by.
It's like snap, short offense to the leg, finish kind of re-attack stuff. It's not like I think he shoots like a left side high crotch if he takes an attack, but it's pretty freaking rare for him to do it.
I think you could also make the argument people should hit knees less than they do now.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, one thing I didn't do the statistical analysis of where the scores came from, but I did notice that, and I think I could point out a whole bunch of matches that there was a bunch of people shooting to single and not really even wasting time on the single, but flipping right to a seatbelt position, right? I mean, Gilman, for example, did it a whole bunch, going single leg, as soon as you hit the single leg, boom, come up to seatbelt, and then work from the seatbelt position. I think that's really popular because, in freestyle, there is a high amount of danger to being underneath on someone's leg.
Yeah, I thought that was a clear evolution for Gilman and very properly identified. I mean, those guys are so tricky when you're finishing just on the leg. I mean, it's insane some of the stuff they can do. And, even I'm thinking I'm all over the place, but Miles against Deepak late, it's like that dude was freaky with Miles on his leg, even standing single. He had to throw like 4 or 5 different finishes before he was able to circle behind on it. So the world is just, and that's really for the United States. I think that's one of our biggest areas where we could get a lot better, where we could get.
It was scoring off of their attacks.
Well, not just that, just like. I'm just talking about basically, I guess, about kick out defense and all that crazy stuff. Because
I would say Gable, Dake, and Taylor are all really good that way. Snyder's not elite. That's not one of his best skill sets, and Gilman's not. But the other 3 are pretty damn good there.
Dayton's real. Well, it's different there because I guess I'm talking about something different. I don't know. Like,
what do you mean?
Okay, so like David is good on the
scramble.
leg. In the scramble, Kyle will flip you like kind of like Sadulaev. I'm talking about when they're single leg, backside, almost in a quad pod, right? I'm talking about that position, and they're just able to kick out and be just really strangely evasive in a way that really I think only Dayton is for America.
Well, I mean, so if you, from a technical standpoint, if you pick one of those strategies, now you want to be kind of capable in all of them, but if you want to pick one of them, so, when they attack my legs, I can have elite level baseline defense, right? So like down block, go behinds, that type of stuff, which we have a lot of Gable's elite at, and down block reattacks. Man, at the world level, if they get to your leg and all you want to do is sprawl, that's just not going to get it done. So that option's kind of out, right? So then you have the scrambling where I'm scrambling back into them, like at David Taylor. That's probably where he makes most of his money. You have the dump series, which would be like your chest wraps, front head pinches, crotch lifts, which is like what Sadulaev did to Kyle. And then you have your evasiveness, right? And I think most people who are good at one, I don't want to say they stick with one, but they're very elite at that, especially when we're talking about at this level of wrestling. And they rarely go to the next one or don't do the next one as well because they spend so much time on the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get exactly what you're saying, that we call it the turtle shell position. It was first done by Batirov, where the single leg's up, they turn down, they have the elbows sealed in, and then they can wrestle back in. And Chimizo's great there, and he actually kind of evolved that series past where Batirov was at. So yeah, I hear
Chimizo's great at switching in.
Yeah.
Like at the last second, getting his arm and hand back into a leg somehow and then actually scoring.
You know who can kind of do it all is Sadulaev, because he's kind of crazy when you're just on a single leg. He can do all the kick out stuff, but he can also do the freak stuff and just pick you up and flip you over.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that match
It's
really yet.
Yeah. That match is really fun. So I love the move where you go like chest wrap and they're more on a lower single than a regular single. I have never usually if you go, so I always tell my kids, if you keep their body perpendicular to your leg, you're going to get them. But if they get off perpendicular, so meaning my leg is here, I need their body perpendicular to it and taking them over, right? Sadulaev went parallel to his leg. So Sadulaev went like this to dump him over, right to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that never works. I don't know if it was maybe the grip he had or something to that effect, but usually when you go that direction, you get them like to like 80 degrees, but you don't break 90. You know, you get them really close, but you don't break it. So I don't know if there's a different grip that he had or something. It doesn't look to be different, but he was obviously able to get him over both of those times.
Yeah, it was. It was freaky. The first one was freaky looking. The second one looked a little more like, okay, something you kind of see in wrestling. But to see him, how he horsed Kyle up, Kyle goes in like full plank, and because the crazy thing is he lifts him up, but then he actually puts him back down because Kyle like goes completely straight, and he comes down, and then he takes him through. One of the weirdest things about that match, I don't know if it's weirdest, but it kind of got lost in the discussion about the chest wraps, was the first shot clock, and that Kyle got put on it. And that seemed incongruent with how it was normally called, because not only was Kyle controlling center, he seemed to be the most offensive guy, but they elected to put Sadulaev on the clock. And I'm wondering how much of an impact, if any, that put on the match.
Yeah. So I didn't see it as that egregious. I would agree with you that Kyle was a little more offensive, but they go any direction with those sometimes. And sometimes you'll see them say like, "Oh, I put Kyle on the shot clock because he was actually more offensive. So I wanted him to get the second shot clock point. So if it was 1-1, then Kyle would be the winner," which is obviously I think ridiculous. Yeah, man, I think Kyle's got to not shoot if he wants to beat Sadulaev. Just literally hand fight him to death and hope you score on one late attack, because Sadulaev is so good when you're in on his legs.
So it was very apparent early on in the first period that basically that was the strategy for Kyle. It's like hand fight hard, let's get him tired, and let's see what he's got left in the second, right? And when he shot in right away and got turned, I think that changed everything. And then that plan goes out the window when you're down 4.
Yes.
So
yes.
Because Andy Hamilton and I are sitting there watching. He's like, "How soon?" He said in the second period, "How soon does he go?" And I said, "I bet he goes soon. Right? I bet he doesn't wait and just tries to go hard the whole way." But you wonder if he just goes there and hand fights for another minute and takes a little more out of him, do things start to open up a little more, right? Because he's the only guy that took down Sadulaev in the whole tournament. So he got one, but when you're down 6,
it's the bet you got to make. I mean, if you can't get in and score cleanly on his legs without giving up points, I mean, obviously. So now we only have 2 minutes till the Worlds, unfortunately, because it's not another year. If you have another year, you could obviously work on that skill set to the point where you could take a leg attack, and it would be really nice to. I mean, what would be best for Kyle right now is if you could wrestle him 3 to 4 times a year and get and try a new skill set, and then fail, that didn't work, go back to the drawing board, try a new skill set, and maybe find something that works. But if you don't have those reps against him, it makes that difficult. And maybe the best opportunity is to just be stingy as hell and try to win that way and try to force him to blink, right? Try to force him to attack and maybe force a not so great attack.
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets put on the clock early, 1-0 Snyder, and then maybe we don't give up that step out, and we got a 1-0 lead going into the second, and then Sadulaev has to shoot and be offensive. Who knows how it looks, because I think they didn't want to go under Kyle. I think they didn't want to feel his short offense. That's one area he was able to exploit Sadulaev in their actual match. One thing that I think is great about this match is that it was a match. It was a full thing, right? It wasn't we were left in 2018 just totally like, certainly Sadulaev was the rightful winner, but it's like, well, where are they really?
I don't like that.
One move match. I did not like it. What don't you like?
That it went the full length and Sadulaev still won. Because that's what was giving me hope. Because in 2017, the way we saw it play out was when it went the full match, Kyle was able to wear him down and win. Obviously, he wore him down a little bit, but not early enough and not enough to win. In 2018, we didn't see that. It was just a Sadulaev pin. So I actually don't like that it went the full length and Sadulaev still won. Because to be honest, I was giving Sadulaev was my pick, but I was giving Kyle a very good chance to win that match, and that the chances now for me have far decreased next time they wrestle.
I don't think the gap is as one. I'm with you. I picked Sadulaev initially, and then once I got there and
you
was
got
just
swept up in Team USA,
big time. I said, but it wasn't just that. I really believed it. I was
out of your communist ways.
I was like, he's gonna freaking do it. He'll figure it out. He'll find a way, and they've got a game plan, et cetera, et cetera. And you know what? I think they've got more information now, and I don't think he's as far away as maybe you think. How far do you think he is, Ben?
Well, the thing is, here's the thing about it. He ain't that far away, but Sadulaev doesn't lose all that often, right? So even if he's here and he's here, this gap is going to be tough to overcome. And that was what I said. If Kyle had 3 to 4 shots at him a year and he really got to get in there and feel it out, I think he would be able to make up that gap and try some different game plans. Because when you're the guy that is, at the disadvantage or not as good as someone, you need to have shots at them to try to figure them out, to try to figure out, where can I score? Because obviously what I tried last time, it didn't work. I wasn't able to get those scores early. And so you need to try a new plan. And if we don't get a lot of shots, it's hard to have those plans, right, to develop those plans. And so I think Kyle's at a disadvantage. I think it's going to be tough for him to win. I would like to, if I'm Kale, going into October, I'm going to say, let's try a new plan. Let's try to do almost nothing. Let's try to force his hand and try to force him to attack and see if we can't counter him and see where that goes, right? Because we tried it the other way and it didn't really work.
The thing is, Sadulaev is evolving too.
Absolutely.
This third match, he wrestled far different than the first 2 matches. And I think it should also be said, I don't know if a lot of Americans know, Sadulaev was injured. It came out in post-match. I don't know how injured, but his Tadiev, the Russian coach's quote.
Oh gosh.
Well, I'm just saying, I was not afraid to go on the mat with 1 foot because I knew there are techniques in freestyle wrestling that can be done with 1 foot, but I never underestimate my opponents. Sadulaev said that of his foot injury.
But he did say he'll be wrestling again in October, so how bad could it be?
I don't think it's a broken ankle or anything.
This is some propaganda. Russian spin.
Probably JD, you're falling for the Russian propaganda.
Falling for it.
I'm saying he also wrestled like a person who might not want to attack because he's got a hurt foot.
I don't know.
Maybe. But we don't know, so we got to go find out. I mean, so right now, if you're developing a strategy, you have. Listen, if I'm Kyle's coach, I'm going to give him a week off. Kyle, you got a week off. And if you want to go to the Worlds in October, I'm not going to make you go. But if you want to go, we got to get after it. And we got to develop a new game plan right away of what we're going to try to do and how we're going to try to beat him. And that's the game plan that I'm suggesting would be do almost nothing, pressure, hand fight, and try to beat him that way.
Do you think Kyle can pressure Sadulaev enough to get him put on the clock?
He did in the first period. Absolutely. You watch that first period, and he clearly did. They just
but he was trying to attack that. I'm saying if you say, if it becomes a whole position off, do you favor Kyle in that?
Well, I don't think he was trying to attack in the first period. I just think he was. I think he was playing the game. He was trying to hand fight and move him and work for the shot clock with the idea of going late. I think he can. I think he can hand fight with him. Listen. The margin for error with Sadulaev is going to be razor thin. There's going to be very few mistakes to make. And if you make one, that could be it, right? He was able to make a mistake in 2017. He tried to jump over him in the first 5 seconds of the match and got taken down, right? So he doesn't have to be perfect, but he's got to be close to it. And I think next time around, Here, all right, here's one thought. So he takes him down with a high crotch. I think it was the left side, high crotch. Do you take that as, okay, this is an avenue to pursue, or do you take that as Sadulaev turned down, didn't really want to fight it, and knew he was up 6-0?
I say more of that than, okay, this is our path to victory.
Yeah.
You maybe take it, okay, we can maybe hit this shot, but I saw that shot as much more Sadulaev was a little tired towards the end and kind of just gave it up.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, of note, we're talking a lot about Worlds. Kyle Snyder, Kyle Dake, and David Taylor confirmed they're going. They want to go. Their plan is to go. Thomas did not. Thomas is. Did you listen to his post
the
interview?
foot injury?
Yes. Liz Frank, and now they're at this point and they're going to try to figure out, what he's going to be able to do and what's going on and all that. So he was non-committal there. I think he certainly would maybe like to, but who knows? I'm pretty sure. And his wife's expecting.
He doesn't have to wrestle off for the team, obviously. So that's
but he has to decide by a date that I am trying to find. I can't remember the exact date, but it's pretty quick, actually. Yeah. He doesn't have a whole lot of time.
I mean, that's pretty cool, actually, because we were talking about if you were an Olympian and you did not medal, it's gonna suck to have to turn around and wrestle off in 3-4 weeks. How far is 4 weeks? Maybe, I don't know. It's not very far. That would suck to have to turn around and wrestle off in 4 weeks. But all of our medalists in men's freestyle medaled, and almost all of our medalists in women's freestyle medaled. So none of them have to wrestle off.
I would say all our medalists medaled, but on the late. Team
members, you know what I meant.
I knew what you meant. I'm just goosing you, buddy. So it's we're gonna have a good team. You know what? One thing that was so encouraging to me, just about where are we as Americans, American wrestling, right?
They have 5 days, by the way, to declare. It's August 15th is the date they have to declare by.
Holy crap! They're still gonna be getting on jet lagged. So
Or they can still compete, but they just have to wrestle off.
Think about the depth.
Wow, so we're going to know what the Gable answer. We're going to know really fast. We're going to know by August 15th whether he's going to wrestle or not.
I shouldn't say, actually, if I know they can compete after that. The rules just say they must declare their intent to compete at the 2021 World Championships by August 15, 2021.
So that means they're going if they... Right?
Yeah, but I'm saying if Gable still wants to decide, like if he's still thinking about it, I don't know if he can say.
I guess
he can say no and then be like, yes, and then come back and just have to wrestle off for the spot or not.
Oh, but it could be the other way too. If I was him, I would just say yes, and then 3 weeks later, if I don't feel like it, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm sorry. Do the wrestle off.
Ouch.
Kind of a dick move, but I guess what are they gonna do?
You're making an Olympic champion choose.
Well, it's a dick move to everybody else that wants to compete
Absolutely.
for that spot to Mason and Kirk Fleet and Quiz, because you're just saying, don't worry guys, you don't have to train or anything. I got this. And then 2 weeks before they're supposed to wrestle off for a freaking world team spot, you're like, okay, yeah, wrestle off.
Team USA
I'm looking at it from Gable's perspective, not from the other.
I know. Yeah, I'm saying, what are they gonna do? I don't know if they can find him or anything. So.
They fine him?
Well, I'm saying they
find Gable Steveson. I will pay it.
But I'm just saying, I guess there's nothing in the procedures that say there's a punishment if you do that. So
yeah, man, that would be the wildest move ever. Sorry, Gable, we got to find you. So
I feel like there should be some sort of punishment.
They're not gonna. Gable's not gonna.
Then what's the freaking point of even putting this in the rules?
No, he's gonna. I would imagine they'll declare their intent by that point in time, but I don't think anyone's gonna say yes and then have a take back, or they could just say, "Oh, I got injured."
Well,
yeah,
you can say that.
Yeah. So, what I was saying about why I'm so encouraged about Team USA is the depth that we have, right, and how insane it is. So I just want to look at it weight by weight with our medalists. So you think about Gilman, just start at the lightest. You got Gilman, okay? This guy lost a couple matches right before trials. He was in really competitive bouts. He's gone back and forth with
the Penn State peak.
He had close matches with Vito, right? And this guy is a clear bronze medalist and a whisker away from being an Olympic champion, right? And we know we've got guys behind him that are also really, really good, right?
Yeah.
We didn't even have Spencer and Nick at the trials, right? Even without that, Gilman was taking losses. That's how good we see how good Thomas Gilman is, and certainly he improved a lot from trials to this point. But
great.
Regardless, and one other thing with Gilman, we knew he got hurt in the trials. We thought it was in the second match. He got hurt early in the first match. And that's when he broke or had the Liz Frank thing. I don't know if that's a break or what it is, but it's a very serious foot injury. Liz Frank is like, she
was a Jewish girl who got trapped up in a closet for a very long time. She wrote a diary.
That's Anne Frank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Close. So think about 57. Okay, 65. Well, we don't know about that one, but we have a lot of good guys.
Metatarsal fracture dislocation.
74. We've got Dake, and we had Burroughs not make the team there, so we know we got multiple medalists there. 86. How many? There's only one American that would have won the Olympics, but how many Americans would have medaled in that at 86? I think a lot. I think Bo Nickel. I think Zahid. I think Gabe Dean. I think Ringer outside shot at placing.
Absolutely.
We got 4 or 5 guys that could have placed at 86. 97. I think. Well, the big
Jaden.
one, obviously Jaden. But I think someone like Colin Moore would have been highly disruptive. If you put him at Kyle's side, he medals.
Depending on where they end up. Well, but the bracket, yeah, I mean that's another topic. Is the bracketing is just so stupid still. With the seating is awful. The seating is not good seating whatsoever. And then on top of that, there's no wrestle back. So a lot of the bronze medal is like, where did you land in the bracket? That's it. I mean, 97 is a great example. Look at that top quarter with Sadulaev. Mm-hmm. 2 of those guys, were obviously kind of screwed, right? Because you have 4 of them. So 2 of them are really screwed where they could have ended up on the other side or they could have ended up, yeah.
I was so pumped to see Salas place. I know he mean mugged you, Ben, but he was so close in 16 and when Jaden beat him. And I was obviously very happy that Jaden placed, but I did kind of feel for him because I was like, I like this guy. I would like to see him get an Olympic medal, and to see him do it on the tough side was kind of cool. Because I mean he was someone you could have kind of written off there. He had some really bad performances where you're like, oh my gosh, he's just done. They're just rolling Salas out here. It's like, nope, he got it going for the Olympics for sure. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And then at heavyweight,
it is really interesting. Sorry, because it is really. JD made this comment earlier, but it is kind of interesting to me to think about. We do have 2 bronze medalists, and so like, really, when you think about it, they would be wrestling off to go right for 3rd place, and there would only be one of them taking 3rd, and now both of them take 3rd. That's kind of really like an interesting thing to think about. And whatever, it's still. I guess I'm good with giving 2 bronze medals. I used to hate the idea, but now I'm more okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, I've come to accept it. I don't know if I'll ever truly understand it, but I understand it, but I don't know if I'll like it. But it's cool. We got some medals, and I like that. And then at heavyweight, I think we're really deep. We don't have any other Gables, but Gwiz, Mason, and Kirkfleet. I mean, I think they're disruptive. Gwiz already has 2 medals. Mason and Kirkfleet are emerging young talents where if Gable leaves, I'm not feeling like we got a champ locked in, but I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like we have a medalist threat there, and we have a couple of them. So I'm encouraged by the depth, and I think it's a little different on the women's side, whereas I think our best ladies they're pretty far removed from, but we've got this wave that's coming of women of women's wrestling talent with the cadets, how good they're doing. We'll see how the juniors do. And I think our time to pass Japan is going to be with that wave of the younger wrestlers, because there's so much talent on this squad. So it's really encouraging on both sides. In Japan, I feel like we've got further to go on the women's side to be number one, but
Yes.
I feel more confident that we're going to do that and become the dominant superpower in women's wrestling. Because I think we have the athletes, and I think the coaching is improving so much, and we're just so much in we're getting more and more elite female wrestlers into the fold that it's only a matter of time that we make the Japanese will always be formidable. They're always going to be good, but when you combine our athletes with the coaching, we're gonna be right there, and I think we are gonna pass them. And I think we're gonna have a better time keeping them back. And this may sound crazy, as good as Japan is, and I'm not saying it's gonna be in 2024, but I think it is gonna happen. I think they'll have an easier time keeping them off than we will ever of separating ourselves fully from Russia on the men's side.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We can read some quotes from Sadulaev about
Oh my gosh!
Russia's
Let me get the
freestyle
barf
supremacy.
bag out. This Bond villain.
They're kind of funny.
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
All right, this is from Russia's head coach Sadulaev. Here's a
Look at his
picture
face. I mean,
of him here.
Just look at this man while we read his quotes.
how punchable.
This was with an interview with Wrestling Russia. Overall feelings. In fact, I'm in seventh heaven. Wrestling world history passes through us. In 100 years, we will be gone, but history will remain. Everyone will remember how in 2020, they wanted to bite us from all sides, but we coped with everything, and our country can be proud of its fighters. You can always rely on us.
Yeah, why were we trying to bite you? I mean, you're the most cheating nation of all time ever.
When I was there, the Americans never bypassed us, and they did not bypass us even today. There was not even a thought that they could bypass us. We always have the most gold in Athens and in Beijing and in Rio and in Tokyo. We are ahead of the whole planet.
Oh my gosh, this guy's the worst.
This was on his comments on Snyder Sadulaev. Clear instructions were given on how to deal with it. Block the hand, hold the hand, go to the zone, near the zone. Do not get head to head. He is physically healthier and purely technically to beat him. We will never tire of proving our superiority in the world of freestyle wrestling.
This is getting worse.
Someone then asked him about Gable versus Sadulaev. He said, if you put him with Rashid, he will break him. Look at Sadulaev. It makes no difference to him who to win. Which, I don't know about that. Gable's quite a bit bigger than Sadulaev. That's also a big part of why I think it's different in 2017. 2017 was Sadulaev's first year up from 86. He was still splitting time between 92 and 97 that year, and Kyle was able to just wear on him and overpower him, and I don't think that's quite as much of the case now. They also love tanks, which is just funny to me, like the nickname.
They just call them all tanks.
Yes, all our tanks, this is from the reporter, all our tanks won in Tokyo. The small tank, Yugoyev, the Ungush tank, Yevloyev, who's the Greco-Roman 97 guy, and the Russian tank, Sadulaev. And Tadeev said, no matter how many tanks there are, they are remembered only when it is hard for their country. All the tanks listed by you won in 2018, 19, and 20. Only then they were not remembered for some reason. I would like them to be celebrated every year.
Oh, I love tanks.
Yeah, that was just funny. So now everyone is tanks.
Yeah. He's tough, but you know what? He can gloat a little bit because they freaking did it. Barely. It was close.
Barely.
Rashidov lost. That was awesome. But
yeah, if we could have got someone in the bracket, Christian, at 65, I mean, there's a decent chance if we get the right draw, we're scoring enough points to beat Russia.
I think so.
That's being very optimistic.
If you look at the bracket, it was so evenly distributed this year.
Yes.
Like 65. It's
But hold on. Guys,
partially because it's so deep.
Hold on. You only have to beat one person, like one of the crappy countries that get in, right? You beat them, and then if you wrestle the guy who made the finals, you're in the top 6.
Yeah.
You realize that, right? So then if you're in the top 6, it's going to be enough points for us to beat Russia or ROC.
That's true.
Or whoever the hell we're going to acknowledge as.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about medaling, not team race.
No, not medaling, because we wouldn't need to. We lost by only, 5 points or something? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I think 6th place is 10 points. Or how many is 6th place? Well, it's double fifth. So they go 3rd, 3rd, and then 5th, 5th. Right?
Yes.
Something to that effect.
Yeah. So hopefully 65 help. We get some points there in the future. It's going to be interesting with Jo and I think Zane both going 70.
Zane's going 70.
I think I heard that.
That is, I believe, news to my ears.
I was told that at Tokyo that Zane was going 70.
Okay.
Yanni's staying at 65. So it'll be him, Nick Lee, because JO's up now too. So it'll be kind of a different look. 70 could be fierce if Zane's going up, which I was told he was. We'll see. So yeah, we're not as far off as it may appear at 65. But it's going to be tough to place. Well, one of the other cool things about the Olympics is the spotlight that the athletes get, right? That they don't get at the World Championships, that they don't get at other times. And I think it was a great moment for wrestling because our personalities were front and center. And I think a lot of people were exposed to just how great and how cool and how unique and interesting our wrestlers are. Like, everyone fell in love with Tamira because she just acted exactly how she has always acted all along forever. It's just more people got to see it. And she goes from 17,000 followers to 134,000 followers on Instagram.
So I think that's Jordan Burroughs said just win or whatever he said in the Twitter. That's why she went up. And I mean, obviously there's an aspect of that is 100% true. But part of it too is just I feel like so many athletes there are so like jaded. I don't know maybe the right word for it. And Tamira is just so genuine and so loving, and you just don't see that. So when you see it and you feel that genuineness, the authenticity, you're like, oh my God, this is so awesome. I love this woman, right? I mean, that's kind of I think how a lot of people felt about her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's for sure. That's no disagreements there. I think that is absolutely why she's just a unique personality that you don't really see in the world. And for her to be the best in the world, hands down at her weight, and really, she's in that top 2 or 3 pound for pound discussion for women's wrestling. Oh yeah, she beat the Olympic silver medalist.
We need her versus Rodder Falcon that beat Adeline.
Oh, she'd beat her.
She beat her.
Set it up. I think she beat her, no problem.
Hey, I don't know why this didn't. I mean, this is probably pretty easy math, but it didn't strike me. Klingman just posted men's freestyle was 17-3 at the Olympics. That's freaking outstanding. Holy crap! I mean, I obviously knew it was good. If I would have thought about it, I would have added up. But 17-3, jeez Louise,
that's insane. That's really nuts.
That's insane.
And considering one of the losses was to the Olympic champion at the last second. The other one was to a guy that could be going down as the greatest to ever do it, right? Yep. I mean, look at what's he up to? Is he at 7 out of 8 now?
A lot.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
We didn't win 17.
14, 15, 16, 18, 19. So he's at 6 out of 7.
4 world, 2 Olympic.
Yeah. 6 out of 7. And, no one got to win anything in 2020. So that year just doesn't count.
And he'll get another shot in 2 months.
Yep. So, and also that puts that, I think Kyle Snyder needs to be put in perspective because this dude is 25. He's got 6 world and Olympic medals, 3 gold. And when you think about like that in the context of American wrestling, at this point in their careers, Dake and David Taylor were 2 years away from making their first team.
Yeah. So crazy.
From making a team, okay? And Jordan Burroughs had made 3 total teams by the time he was 25, I believe. And so you've got this guy who, and the thing with Snyder that is, I think, what I want to talk about is, I think his style is going to age well. I think he's going to be able to continue to do this for a while. He's an upper weight. I think he's not reliant on being like super fast, super agile. He's like very positionally disciplined, and he's really strong. And I think the things that he relies on are going to be with him. And also,
and at 97.
Which
helps versus 74.
And he's proven to be extremely durable, right? He had the ankle thing at senior nationals, but otherwise he's very healthy.
The best ability is availability.
Now you see, it's like Jaden's going to 92 for Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Jaden stays down there for the next 3 years, who's going to challenge Kyle at 97?
Nobody's in the mix.
I think the answer is nobody's in the mix. So that puts him very likely 3 more medals down the line. Maybe Jaden comes up in 2024, and then we have that battle. But then again, if Jaden, Jaden's also very likely to medal every single time at 92. So now you have 2 guys who have over a handful of world medals.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's no consolation for Kyle probably that he hasn't been able to win since 2017. But man, a part of it is 2 of those years are just straight up losses to Sadulaev, where any other way there's no one has to go through anyone as good as Sadulaev in their path to Olympic glory, right? And that just makes it tough. But yeah. So I think a little perspective on this is an all-time guy.
That's great perspective.
Already.
I actually to my group yesterday, I did Mental Monday with David about David Taylor, and it's like I think a lot of people forget the perseverance it took to get where he is, and it's like some of you guys, you're disappointed after 6 months or a year of working hard, and listen, it should be disappointing. I understand it, but David Taylor first tried making the team in 2012. He didn't actually make his first team till 2018. And then even after he gets his first world title, you have 2019 where he has an injury, so he can't wrestle then. 2020 where it's coronavirus, he can't wrestle then. And so we're talking over his first 9 years, he made one team and he won one world title. As the amount of perseverance that Cape took to stay in the game. And then finally in his 10th year, he wins the Olympic title, which is the ultimate prize. Man, that took a lot of perseverance to get to that point. So when you have that little setback after 6 months or a year, stay in the game. Just keep grinding it out.
Yeah, I mean, commitment to the goal of just being completely undeterred, right? And just sticking with a plan. 2016, it didn't seem like he was, all that close, right? I mean, he was in reality. I'm sure he was world level, but the jumps he made in a quad were insanely impressive. And now, I mean, I think there can be debate about the pound for pound discussion. Maybe that's our next topic. Like, where does he fit? But the dude hasn't lost a match since 2017. And please don't say the words Drew Foster to me. Just don't.
Technically.
Yeah, technically. Rules guy Ben counts incomplete matches.
Let me think. So at 86, if it's not Yazdani, who's challenging David Taylor? 'Cause I don't think Russia has anyone really elite coming up at that weight class.
Nafanov's young. He won't challenge
is he that young
David
still?
for. Yeah, he's like young mid-20s.
I feel like Nafanov's been around for a little bit.
Not really. I don't know who you might be confusing him with. But I don't think he's challenging David for.
He's 24
anytime soon. 24.
So he
but he's been
the biggest competition for David is going to be domestic, right? These young guys that are coming up, the Aaron Brookses. That's going to become the challenge. But he's going to be sitting out every single time. Like there's no I know weird things happen and guys don't medal at Worlds, but he's going to medal at Worlds every single year. So he's going to have the benefit of the sit out from now till 24. And
you think he goes after 24?
Who knows? I mean, he was immediately like, absolutely, I'm going to Worlds and I'm going through 24. Of course, obviously. So I don't know. I think at that point, I don't know if you commit to another quad, especially if you. This is so out there, but if he runs the table through 24, how do you not just say, okay? I mean, I just
retire on top.
I just won how many straight, right? That would be just unbelievable.
That would be 6 straight at that point, tying John Smith.
Oh my!
If he were able to do it.
So 18
with a mulligan year, 2 mulligan years.
Well, I guess you don't count the injury because he didn't wrestle. But
19
then you
and
go
20.
not 2 mulligan years because 20 becomes 21 and 21, right? There's two
Yes.
21s, so you essentially count one of them as 20.
Yeah. I mean, no. Yeah, there was no tournament. What can you do?
Yeah.
He was injured. What
He
can you
will.
do?
I mean, I think the only thing with David Taylor. I mean, if we kept this version of David Taylor, I don't know that he's going to lose. Man, I know. I feel like I didn't really. Now, like when I look back at it, I feel like I didn't really age till like 32, maybe. And then after 30, now everything effing hurts. It sucks, you know. And so David Taylor is getting to that age. What's he at? 29 or 30 right now?
Maybe older than
Yeah.
that. Is he 31?
David Taylor's 30, turns 31 in December. So, you know, he would be 33 going on 34 when he hits the 2024 Paris Olympics. So that, I mean, that is getting
Salas
older.
is 34 years old, I believe.
Cubans don't age. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows Cuban's own age.
Come on, dude. Yeah, Cuba. Oh, yeah. You know what? Cuba's probably my favorite non-American wrestling nation by far. They had obviously an amazing showing in Greco with 2 Olympic champions again at the lightest and the heaviest weight. Our man Ismael Barrera Molina didn't have the best showing. That was really surprising after what he did in 19. But yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about Cuba. But yeah, I think David. What do you think about David's stuff? So I said, hey, Kyle Snyder's style is going to age well. He's going to be able to do this for a while. Do you think the same is true for David?
Well, I think David's already started making an evolution. Like, I think he probably is. If we look back to, say, you know, prior to 2016, he's obviously gotten bigger. He's gotten to be a better hand fighter. He is less of a volume attacker. He still will volume attack, but not the way he did before. So I think it's just he's just going to keep evolving, right? He's smart enough to keep evolving. You know, like, cause there's a few things I feel like I can still do as well as I did back, 10 years ago. And there's a whole bunch of things where I'm like, ooh, this dropped off, right? So if David Taylor is smart enough to be able to put himself in the positions, he can still beat anyone in the world, just with different moves than he did previously.
I thought it was interesting. He used a double leg to take Yazdani down in the final seconds. Not one of his go-to attacks.
Well, he said we talked about that specifically. I mean,
we have a clip of him talking about it actually. If we
even better
want to hear it from the lion's mouth, yeah. Troy, if you want to play that, but yeah, he's basically just.
Did you say from the lion's mouth?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's perfect. I don't know if we have it though.
Might need a second, but he basically said, he doesn't know where it came from. He just said it's reactionary. Like he goes, I don't know. I have drilled that 100 times, and it's just something I felt, and I did. Like club double finish.
I'm interested. Like, how much Ben is when you're wrestling at that level? How much of it is like, because he clearly did not think, okay, I'm gonna jack an underhook, snap double, right? It's just something that happens. How much of wrestling at that level is just almost thoughtless in that way?
So subconscious.
Yes, subconscious.
That's my athletes. A lot of it.
A lot of it.
That's the point of drilling.
Well, I always say in practice we can be consciously thinking about things, and that's how we get better. Is why didn't that work, or what can I do differently, or how do I just make a small adjustment in practice? But when we get into match mode, we want a lot of it to be subconscious. So when we do things, we're not really thinking about how we do them. And maybe when he goes out of bounds, or there's a small break in action, maybe you think, oh, that might work, or oh, I felt that. But I think a high percentage of it is subconscious for sure.
Yeah, it was really fluid, and he mentioned when he rehabbed his knee, he actually was able to really build a lot more strength in his lower body. So he's like, I actually have this pop that I can run through guys that I didn't have at other points in my career, which I found really interesting as well. But yeah, it was like just a textbook run through you double leg, and I thought it was interesting that's how he got it done. And the amount of pressure you have to put on a guy. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. So Miles Amin, we interviewed him after. If you haven't got to listen to that, please check it out. He was talking about how tired he got against David, and we do have that clip. We'll roll it in a second, but first I'll tell this Miles thing. So we're talking about the match with David and how it feels. It's like, what is it about him they feel? Is it the hand fight? Is that, he said, it's the number of exchanges that he puts you in that just takes it out of you. And he can he can just be in like 10, 15 exchanges. And like international wrestling, I mean, look at the Sadulaev Snyder match. What, there were 3 exchanges that entire match? Yes. Right? David's putting that in the first, 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And so you can be feeling good for a while, but there's not a lot of guys that are making you have that many exchanges. And I think David's biggest strength is that, and this was maybe not always the case, but he can have this many exchanges and it's at no risk, right? It's not at, the reason you don't see a lot of exchanges at the international is because there's so much risk involved in taking attacks and forcing these things. Whereas David can get it to a point where in general, either he scores or no one scores. And I thought that was fascinating. So, but here's David talking about the final attack.
Just, I saw a video of it, underhook, fake snap, and double leg. That's just not something you probably saw in my arsenal much of my career, but it's something I've been definitely working on. And, it was just reactionary, honestly. It was just drilling and reactionary and drilling when you're tired and executing and being held accountable by, Coach Casey and our staff. And I was able to execute when I was tired.
Yes, indeed, he was. It was great exchange, great moment. There's so many incredible moments, and being there was really I considered a great privilege. So yeah, that's David. Man, there's so much we can get to. I want to get to a bunch because Ben, you're not here the next 2 days.
Well, so here's the deal. We got an Airbnb in California, so I think I'm gonna be able to. You guys are always sketchy on the hotel internet, but I got Airbnb, so I think we're gonna be good.
Okay, sweet. What's in California? Surf trip?
I'm taking, I'm taking 10 high school guys. Cormier wanted to do a little trading thing with my guys and his guys, so I'm taking 10 guys. I'm actually leaving like just a little bit after the show, flying out to California. We're gonna train Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with his guys.
Sounds terrible.
Should be fun. And then we're gonna go see some redwoods.
Oh, nice. I've always wanted to see. Have you seen those, JD?
I have not.
You seem like you would be
awesome.
A redwoods guy.
Yeah.
I can see you hugging a tree.
Big redwoods guy.
Yeah.
I would like to see some redwoods.
Yeah. All right. Well, dare to dream.
They are tremendous. I will tell. I'll give an advertisement not paid from the redwoods. You go to the redwoods. There's certain national parks. A lot of them are like, they're good, but whatever, right? There's certain ones where you go to, redwoods being one, and you're like, what the freaking heck? I've seen like a million trees. I've seen a million trees in my life. I ain't never seen some shit like that. Like, what is that thing right there that I'm looking at right now?
How many national parks do you have left, Ben?
Well, I've went to all of them in the lower 48.
Okay.
A bunch in Alaska and American Samoa. But yeah, you look at them and you're just like, oh my God, where am I right now? I don't know where I'm at. This is too weird.
All right. Yeah. Oh man, the American Samoa one killed me. Okay. So I'm relieved that you'll be around because there's so much more to get to.
So much more to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like we've just scratched. Yeah.
At some point, I want to talk about like the actual experience of Japan and what it was like there on the ground because that was I don't know.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, interesting. So we get there to Japan, and when you get off the airport, so the Narita Airport is a giant international airport in Tokyo, and we get off the plane, which had all of 15 to 20 people on it, and you get off, you walk off the plane down the jet bridge or whatever, and it's just like you see all these people in full like not biohazard, hazmat. But like they're in the gowns and the masks and the full thing. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what are we walking into right now? This is gonna be weird. And you go through, you have to do all the different stuff and the COVID testing and this, that, and the other. But then when we got out of the hotel or out of the airport and to our hotel, it was like, this is like, it was pretty normal on the, everyone was wearing masks. You had to wear a mask pretty much everywhere, but it wasn't like lockdown status. Like there were these outlets like right around the corner from where we were staying. They were full of people, so it wasn't bad. But the experience in the Olympics actually in the venue was really fun, and it was nice because even though there were no fans, there were enough team members in the audience to where they were creating an atmosphere of cheering and never louder than Snyder's Sadulaev match where everyone was there. I don't know if you guys heard that on the stream or whatever.
You could see and kind of tell, but
it was really loud in there. And it was like, we're talking about 30, 40 people max from Team USA. So that was a really cool thing. We had to hustle a lot of for interviews. So if you don't know, you can't do any video inside the arena, right? Because of Olympic rules. So we had to hustle and do all these outside, and the athletes were so courteous and generous with their time. And we interviewed Tamara Mensah-Stock at like, it must have been 1 a.m. or so after she won. She was out there and just full of energy and able to do it. So that was a big part of it, just a lot of walking around. It was so insanely humid. I sweated through like a couple different clothes. Like I would have to change midday. There's sometimes because we had to walk to the venue. Had a great time palling around with Andy and Brian Van Clay of Win Magazine. Ben, you need to don't yell at him anymore about the double Hodge.
No, I will not give that up. You brought it up. So dumb.
Did you see? Hey, did you see? They put out another article about the double Hodge.
Yeah, because they feel the need to explain themselves because we all know they're full of crap.
They say it's Stephen Neal's idea. So you take it up when you go to California. Take it up with Steve.
Stephen Neal's a very large man, and I feel it very off-putting that Win Magazine needs to put their shortcomings on Stephen Neal. All
right, I'm sorry I brought it up. So that was really fun. Taylor Miller was a huge help for us and helped us get all the interviews, and it was awesome. It was cool being in the hotel. We were in the same hotel as the Team USA athletes, and seeing the guys eating breakfast. I don't know. It was just a really cool personal experience for me, and I'm sure I'll have more stories as we talk about what was going on. Should we get to some questions? There's much more to get to, but
yeah, we only have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, hit a couple
I
questions.
Go on time because I gotta get ready to go to the airport.
Okay, air travel, Ben. I like this question from an actual cannibal. If you could change the outcome of one match from the Olympics, which one would it be?
Probably Sadulaev Snyder, no?
Or Gilman Ugaev, because Gilman was just so freaking close.
Gilman, I have 3. Gilman, Snyder.
You mean the 3 we lost?
Or Helen's.
Oh, or Helen's.
Because Helen wins that. I think she's probably winning gold, right? And for her to go back-to-back Olympic titles through the path that she had, it would have been like, it was inspirational enough to see how great she was wrestling, and for someone to go from the lowest of lows, you say the lowest of lows, but from a wrestling perspective, how far she had deviated from her 2016 and 17 form, right? It was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, I just hope she does okay at the Olympics. To, oh my gosh, she's right there to win it again. So that one, Gilman being so close, what is like, for me, what you just want to change that result so he doesn't have to deal with losing like that, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is with that one, it's like like with the Snyder, you said, well, how would you change it? It need to be some massive change, right?
Yes.
But the Gilman, it's like just hang on for 6 more seconds and lean forward a little harder. Like it's just like right there.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess it's probably. I get to change the outcome. It doesn't. I don't have to change a sequence. So just Snyder wins. I mean, honestly,
he becomes like goat of goats.
Yeah, he does, because he goes back to back at the Olympics. He seals it again for Team USA. And I'll tell you what, it felt. I don't know how it felt at home. Probably the same. It felt so magical what was happening. It felt almost before the match inevitable that Team USA is going to do this thing. We did it with Taylor the night, and then it felt like that with Gable. It's like he's going to do it.
Very nervous.
Well,
yeah,
certainly
you got
nervous.
swept up a little bit in being around Team USA.
Thought it was going to happen.
But yeah, it felt like momentum was on our side, but then it was like, but there's this huge freaking wave coming to slow it down.
Yeah. So I think it probably that, because that's just an American victory unlike any other, if we get that. So that's probably the one I could change, if I would change if I could. But there's others definitely in contention. Next question. Let me see here. Oh, talk about the Yazdani meltdown that the cameras did not show. How bad was it?
We have pictures of it. Yeah.
It was quite a temper tantrum, hissy fit. So, well, it honestly, as much as his was discussed, it has nothing over Atri's meltdown, who got to he managed to make it to the mix zone area, and he's basically collapsed and moaned and bellowed and cried inhumane sounds. The crying he was doing, and just how not upset, just out of sorts, out of his mind. Whereas it was a little more like rage with Yazdani and how upset he was, and both of them screaming so loud once they got to the back.
Troy, if you swipe through those pictures, you can see Yazdani screaming.
Yeah. How about how bad he ripped up David's singlet? That was insane.
There you can see him just screaming.
But yeah. He lost his full mind. But you know what?
Full mind.
You know what happened. But it wasn't like
that one's bad.
It's bad. I mean, he lost his. I mean, he was full on temper tantrum, hissy fit. Inconsolable. It was bad. Okay. 9:44. This has got to be a quick one. Let me find it. This guy, Kimball, little Spidey boy, wants a 4-hour show every day this week. I'm sorry.
I know. I'll get one to end the show. No, I got this.
Okay, go.
I didn't see any Russians at the Olympics. Can you explain why? Is the sarcasm in this question strong enough to break two pens Asperger's? And listen, Russians got no punishment. The IOC is so wimpy. They are so wimpy. They didn't do nothing.
My favorite is when they ran around after they won gold medals with the flag, the ROC flag.
It was so ridiculous. It's preposterous that was allowed to happen, but we know that's what happens because the IOC is chicken.
They're chickens. Bok, bok, bok. They will never. They can't hold Russia accountable. They've had back-to-back Olympics where they've tried.
But also at the same time, do you want another 1984? Like it wouldn't be the Olympics.
It's not 1984. It's not
Yeah,
1984. They boycotted.
They're being punished for a crime.
I'm aware it's
They
different,
committed.
but then every Olympic medalist here would have an asterisk by their name.
No.
F
Yes.
that asterisk. They're getting punished for a crime. It was state-sponsored doping. They cheated. JD, there's punishments for cheating. It's really simple. You cheat,
I'm aware.
You get caught,
I'm aware.
You get punished.
I
Simple.
guess I don't drop the hammer on steroids as hard as y'all. Where I'm like, yeah, it's bad, but I still want to see him wrestle.
Cheating. JD, big cheater here.
Big cheater.
Cool cheating. Big cheater guy.
I hate to see his tax sheets. Who knows what he does? If you're cool with that, if you're cool with Russian cheating,
I'm not cool with it. I don't
No,
condone.
you
I'm
love
just
it.
saying. I'm just saying. I still want to see them
All
at the Olympics.
All the cheaters. Let's just get them full. JD's gonna be the one giving them the injections backstage.
yeah, injecting
Go get him. Here we
JD.
go.
That's his new nickname, the Injector. I think. Listen, at some point, you either are about clean sport or not, and I'm not. Listen,
They're also no longer being tested by USADA.
right? Who was they were the pro-doping organization, but
They have the exact same doping policies as us.
Mm-hmm. Well,
We will see.
We will see
within 4 years. Within the next 4 years.
Yeah. And then again, it's like with cheating and doping, the cheaters are always ahead of the testers. And if you think Russia's done cheating, you're crazy. They will only.
If you think they were banned for 1 year, that they would just be like, oh well, that's it. We could never see how we can get an advantage ever again.
It would be harder for them to justify. I'm not saying that they wouldn't justify. It would be much harder for them to justify.
I don't think they're doing
state
sponsored anymore.
The freaking Olympics.
Like I don't think they're doing the whole state sponsored thing anymore.
Big deal. No big deal.
Tell me why. Explain to me why this would make them stop. Why you think it would be any different now? Because they've shown they can cheat
punishment.
throughout with no punishment.
Do whatever they want.
rigged the Olympics. And
They rigged the Olympics.
So why
Yes,
would you think
when it
this
was in their home country?
Okay.
Well, so that makes it okay?
What?
No, I'm saying it's no
listen,
longer in their
I
home
gotta
country.
go.
I'm saying they're not doing the testing anymore. I'm saying the world is doing the testing now. It's no longer Russia. That was a special circumstance where they pulled out all the stops because they were like, we need to win in our home country.
Oh my gosh. I gotta go. You need to get your guy.
Get
Go
your
take
mans.
him,
Look, yes, they're still cheating. I'm saying if they were banned for 1 year, they're still going to find out how to
I gotta
cheat.
go, Christian. I'm out here.
Bye,
Please,
Ben.
Help your guy. See ya.
Thank you for competing clean.
Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you better.
Peace.
Okay, so you know what? JD and I are going to have a meeting about cheating. A cheating meeting.
No, I'm not okay with
He
steroids.
loves it.
I'm not okay
He
with
loves it.
cheating. The Russians have been cheaters. They always will be cheating. I'm just saying I also just want to see them freaking wrestle.
Oh, wow. I don't know what that word was, but it was close to the word.
It was close. There was an R in there, though.
I think there was an L, an R that maybe got you off the hook there. Yeah, everyone wants to watch them wrestle, but at the same point, for the greater good, if you suspend them one good time, maybe that changes them. But if it's just, oh, wow, your singlet says ROC on it now, and we'll play a different
I agree.
song.
It was a slap on the wrist, and for a obvious, proven statewide sanctioned cheating that was terrible and widespread throughout all Olympic sports, not even just wrestling. I just maybe they should have been. I don't know, but I'm glad they wrestled.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not the same. If you like good wrestling, you want Russia involved. There's no question about that. Okay, there's so much more to get to. I feel like we got to 10% of the Olympics just now. We thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. Ben's going to be in an Airbnb with Daniel Cormier. He won't be at the Airbnb. He'll probably be in his house, which is probably sick because he's the man. So thank you guys so much for listening. Tomorrow is going to be great. And I don't have anything else to say. So thank you and goodbye.